Anxiety for all of us is different. And what anxiety is like is trying to explain to somebody your thoughts almost and what goes through your head up here. When it comes to anxiety, if you're not sure if you have it, definitely get with the doctor, get diagnosed for it. One of the worst things you can do, especially with anxiety, is to self-diagnose yourself with anxiety, because anxiety is not the same as having a fear or being anxious. Anxiety is a massive amount of thoughts that can get you to the point that you disassociate. You have anxiety attacks. Trying to explain that to somebody who's never had anxiety before, a lot of times what ends up happening is they think that we're anxious. Anxiety isn't being anxious. Anxiety is waking up in mass panic, and you can't even almost tell why. And it's your thoughts. You think of the worst, that it doesn't stop. It's not like I'm going to go up and give a speech, or I'm going to give a presentation, or I'm going to meet somebody new, and your palms are a little bit sweaty and you feel the butterflies in your stomach. No, anxiety is all consuming. You can feel your heartbeat start to change. You can feel your skin. You feel more around you than what you ever did before. And that's why sometimes it even gets to the point that you can't even leave the house. Anxiety is not something to joke around with. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. Trying to explain to somebody that your anxiety gets bad enough that you throw up doesn't make sense to them. Then they think that something else might be wrong with you. Anxiety is our thoughts, and it's our fears. It's being trapped in here and playing even through scenarios in our brain that may never even happen, but they become so realistic and so crippling that we feel that they will. That is anxiety. Anxiety is something that doesn't just go away either. You don't just cheer up. You don't just give a presentation and it's gone. You don't just meet somebody and it's over with. You don't just go on a date and guess what? You feel better. Anxiety stays with us. I'm diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, and it's easier for me to explain my anxiety to somebody by stating it's general anxiety disorder, or GAD, instead of trying to explain to them that, hey, guess what? I have anxiety. Everybody seems to know what anxiety means, but they don't know really what anxiety is. And that's the difference. If you're out there and you're trying to explain it to people, you're going to be just spinning your wheels a lot. That's why it's so important to get with a doctor, get a doctor involved with you, your family members, even getting them to come into the counseling sessions or therapy sessions to even get an understanding if they don't. Because a lot of times parents and teachers and friends and spouses don't understand anxiety. If you've never struggled with it, you don't get it. It's that ability to where we can be walking and next thing you know, there's a little thought planted in our head. And it starts to rent space, and it becomes more, and it becomes more. And next thing you know, we feel our heart rate start to increase. We feel our heart start to almost feel like it's moving into our chest. We start to feel sick. We can feel our skin and the goosebumps. We feel consumed by this, that we want to throw up. All of a sudden, maybe we're crying, and that's an anxiety attack. I mean, it becomes paralyzing. Anxiety attacks are nothing to joke about. It's something that if you've never experienced an anxiety attack and you do experience one, you might think you're having a heart attack. And that's why grounding techniques are so important. That's why learning the tools out there to help you through anxiety are so important, because this becomes a reality of life. I mean, that is what anxiety is. Anxiety is consuming thoughts, at least for me, consuming feelings for me that get me to even leave the present, disassociate, and be trapped in my head. And I'm not in reality. I'm in here playing through scenarios that are never going to happen. Can't tell me that. I wouldn't believe it, because my thoughts. It's that worrisome fear of nonstop that, people say, hey, well, what are you worried about? I have no fucking idea. It doesn't stop though. I can tell you that much. That's anxiety. Getting with the doctor though, and finding out what the causes are for it, or finding out what the triggers are for it, or what helps bring it that way helps. I mean, some of my stressors for my anxiety is money. Bills bring me anxiety. Being homeless, playing through all these scenarios of failure, of defeat, of letting everybody down, and that everybody's judging me, and that I can't do this. I'm not a man. I mean, that's anxiety, one of my triggers. So knowing what our triggers are to either avoid them or to work through them, or when they start to happen, to let others around us know, because support helps a lot with anxiety. That positive reinforcement is what we need, because we are so self-defeating in our brain. We're so self-defeating to the point that we will break ourselves down. We're almost our own worst bully, because the stuff that we're saying to ourselves is so unrealistic, but so real to us. It's life though. And that's okay. And it's okay to have anxiety, and it's okay to see a doctor, and it's okay to get some meds for it, even if you need meds. It's okay to fight through it. But definitely get with a doctor. Don't trust all the stuff that you see online. Don't go to a YouTube video to figure out how to cure anxiety, because you know what? You're probably not going to cure it. Probably not going to cure it. You need to know the coping techniques that work for you, though, and learn the ones that work for you, whether it's breathing techniques, whether it's something to focus on and the touch and feel in your hand, whether it's something in your mouth that focuses your attention to something that's going on, either a bitter taste or a sour taste or a hot taste, something for you. And you got to find out what ones work for you. Breathing doesn't work for me. I can start to hyperventilate, and then my anxiety even gets worse, that I'm dying and that I'm letting everybody down, and oh my God, everyone's looking at me and I'm being judged even more. You want to stop that anxiety to a certain point, but don't ever judge anyone that says they have anxiety. And if you want to make a difference even with it, ask them, what brings on your anxiety? What happens when anxiety hits for you? Because understanding is what makes the biggest difference when it comes to anyone that's struggling with mental illness. We don't want attention. We don't want to be coddled. We want people to understand. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of mental health awareness. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, depression, anxiety. It's actually MDD, which is major depressive disorder, and GAD, which is general anxiety disorder. It's knowing what we struggle with or have challenges with and working through them, and then having even others who sometimes help us with them. So don't ever feel weak. Don't ever feel set back because you are going through a fight. Make sure that you get with a doctor, though. And again, trying to explain this to people sometimes is extremely difficult. But know that, that feeling of nausea, that throwing up, that heartbeat in your throat, that loss of reality, and in this thoughts up here that start to make you pick your fingernails and pick your lips and pick your skin, and you just start to pull yourself apart. That's like rippling anxiety. That's just what it is. And trying to explain that doesn't always make sense, but you're not alone. So make sure that you reach out, you get help, you get support. I mean, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. I mean, my name is Eric. I started a nonprofit called Driven Together. It bridges the gap between therapy and a crisis hotline, that in between of sharing tools, experiences, and resources. Down below, I have links to the mental health discords that we've created, to the website, to different resources out there that are free to help you. I even have links below to BetterHelp if you want to try online therapy. Same to a lot of the different tools I use even on Amazon for helping me with fidget spinners and fidget cubes and things to keep myself out of here, because that's what it is. I got to keep myself out of here. It's a little bit scary in there sometimes. So know that it's okay, and that it's okay to be not okay, and that you're a BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You've made it through 100% of your worst days to make it through 2 today. And you got this. We got this. Hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below. I'd love to have you along for the journey.